our main man, Will Z. Will, what's happening, buddy?
Not too much. How about you?
Man, good man. It's really so fun after games like that last night.
Yeah.
Obviously, we bask in this euphoria after Kings victories, that are really really exciting. But just from a sports fan perspective, to be able to sit down with the people who are kind enough to listen to this show every day or listen to this show once in a while and just talk about something we were all watching is so much fun.
It's been such a fun playoffs in that regard, too. Like the whole playoffs, this is the most fun I've had watching the playoffs in years, I
Sure.
think. And it just keeps delivering game after game. And it's awesome. Like, just especially with the discourse coming into this series with the markets and everything, like to have game one be that, like,
Mm-hmm.
come on, what else can we ask for? It's awesome.
Yeah. Markets and ratings, and then of course the local conversation involving Tyrese Halliburton and the trade, and Kenny getting frustrated yesterday when the inevitable Tyrese Halliburton video package is airing, and there he is being drafted in Sacramento, and the shot of the Tower Bridge, and some of the different things he did as a Sacramento King, and then you flash to Adrian Wojnarowski talking about the league's reaction to the Kings trading Tyrese Halliburton a couple of years ago. Thankfully, the volume was down and we didn't have to relive that particular moment. But yeah, it's been a unique discourse around the league. And I think for Sacramento, it's been an even more unique discourse because of the involvement of Tyrese Halliburton in the series.
Yeah. And I can't get over. I look terrible on this lighting. I gotta figure out.
You're fine, man.
I just
No,
keep thinking about it.
You're fine. You're good. I understand that though, because every once in a while I feel like these lights move, and I also learned that the color of what I'm wearing changes the impact of the light, and so yeah, I have obsessed over that before too.
Yeah.
But I assure you, you are just fine. Will, you have spent a lot of time in recent weeks trying to figure out how to make the Sacramento Kings a team that can be playing later into the season than they have been recently. You've been coming up with different trade proposals. Some of them have been stolen and passed off as their own. Shout out to our guy TC. But you're working pretty hard on this. There's a couple I want to talk about. Namely, you wrote one about Bradley Beal.
Mm-hmm.
I bring that up because we were just talking about Brad a few minutes ago. Or earlier today, we were talking about the Phoenix Suns and kind of what the Western Conference looks like. And what's this trade proposal look like for Bradley Beal, and why would you think it works for Sacramento?
All right. So in this scenario, like there's no specifics because the first domino I think that would have to fall in this situation is the Kevin Durant trade. What I'm looking at is more, can the Kings snag Beal with some of those assets that the Suns get back for Durant? Because right now, like the Suns have nothing. Like you take on Beal to, yes, get a talented scorer and player, but that's not why you're trading for him. You're trading for him to collect assets. A lot of what we saw the Thunder do for years and years, take on a bad contract and get something else with it. All the Suns picks are like the least favorable of like 3 or 4 teams. Like that's not what you want. So I don't have specifics, but money-wise, either Levine or Sabonis straight up works. Kings are taking back a little bit more money. You're giving up a talented player, hence why you get more compensation asset-wise. But what really stood out to me, I think, looking at it big picture, is Beal is making 53.7 next year and 57 million the year after that. So when you look at him and Levine, if hypothetically you trade Sabonis for Beal and picks and young player, whatever, but you're having Beal and Levine come off the books at the same time. So looking at their 2 contracts combined, that opens up $106 million for the Kings in the 2027 offseason. It's 2 years away, so it's a pain to get there and probably wouldn't be the most fun basketball, but it's one of the quickest ways, I think, for the Kings to do a full reset and still maintain some sort of competitiveness while doing so. But in 2 years, you could completely reshape the roster however you want. You could go in and grab another big contract from a trade. You can sign a free agent. Obviously, we know money's hard to come by in the NBA right now. So to have $100 million plus in free agency would be something that not a lot of teams can do right now. So it's an idea. It's not my preferred choice, but I do think Beal is still a better basketball player than a lot of people give him credit for.
Mm-hmm. Well, I believe that you are a genius, and simultaneously, this is your worst idea ever.
That's how I feel too. I'm good with that.
I respect that, because a lot of fans love to talk about like cap space and different things you could do with that. Like, I would ask anyone honestly, what will the Sacramento Kings do with cap space?
Mm-hmm.
What would the Sacramento Kings do with $100 million of cap space? What would the Sacramento Kings do with $60 million of cap space? And your hope is, because the idea of, oh, we're going to go sign a big fish, great, literally never happened. So let's try a different technique. You could make a second trade and absorb someone's contract in that regard, which that's a lot of dominoes you need to fall in your direction. And Bradley Beal, you could acquire with almost all certainty that Bradley Beal is going to play for you moving forward, because that's a deal, that's a trade that you're not going to be able to execute anywhere. You're not going to be able to trade him, at least without his consent, moving forward. It's literally the dilemma the Phoenix Suns are facing right now, is they're, telling anyone who will listen, we do not want Bradley Beal back in Phoenix. They're trying to get in to this coming draft with deals involving Kevin Durant. So I don't know what Bradley Beal's offseason looked like. I don't think it involves Sacramento, but the thing that you just said that I 100% believe is that Bradley Beal is a lot better than people give him credit for anymore. At the same time, I don't know who Bradley Beal is as a player anymore, because he's been stuck in Phoenix the last couple of years, and he's not the guy that I watched with the Wizards many years ago.
Yeah. And like, you look at his splits. So everyone who I'd love, like, shooting area field goal splits. And they're great for him last season. 73.7% in the restricted area, 54.3% in the floater area, 42.1% from the mid range, and I think like 38%, something like that, from three. Like, he's a pure 3-level scorer. But like you said, I don't know what that looks like. Him and Booker and Durant, I don't think it worked. I don't think he works as a third option. I think him with Levine would be intriguing in terms of scoring. I think that you possibly could be semi-competitive with the two of them and then just surround them with defenders. You have to go all in on defenders and just say, we're going to live and die by Levine and Beal. Like, it's all hypothetical. Like you said, the no trade clause. Like, yeah, Beal said that he might be interested in Sacramento before, but why would he want to come to Sacramento in the situation that they're in currently, compared to last season when they were still kind of on the come up?
Well, if you told him he could play,
yeah,
maybe there's a little less infighting here. Maybe that would be better. Of course, I don't know that there's less infighting here in Sacramento than there is in Phoenix, though I do think maybe last year there wasn't. This year, I think Scott Perry and Doug Christie are going to have a lot of that under control. Okay, let's go from what I thought was a bad idea with Bradley Beal to one that I think is actually a little more intriguing. Actually, it's a lot more intriguing, and that's Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah, it feels like the Heat makes so much sense for DeRozan, not only in his fit on Miami, but also the Heat have so many good options that they could send back. Wiggins, like, he's still just doing his thing a little quietly. I kept, every time I would watch Miami down the stretch of the season, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot they have Andrew Wiggins. So I don't know how long-term he is with them. He's also on an expiring deal, I believe. And like, it's a super low stakes if you want to stay competitive, which I think the Kings do. Him and Keegan would be the best forward duo. I think they're better than Barnes and Keegan, the 2 years that they were together. So you'd finally have two true switchable forwards, and like TC said, that could guard up or down, which is
Great
funny
call
because
by
like
TC there.
it's exactly what I had in the article. I listened back to it. I was like, oh yeah, I had that and the second game. It was great. But like you get the size, the athleticism, everything that you've been lacking just by that little switch of DeRozan to Wiggins. And I think he's a lesser usage player at this point of his career. I think he's learned how to kind of be in that role player role that would fit better in the Kings roster than DeRozan did last year.
Yeah, I think there's no question it's a better fit. One thing that I particularly like about this trade proposal is it already involves someone who everyone just assumes is going to be traded anyways.
Yep.
And DeMar DeRozan, like no one believes DeMar DeRozan is going to be back here. For some reason, I haven't quite gotten it. I understand why everybody feels that way, and I am of the belief that yeah, it's probably going to happen. I just don't think I'm as sold as everybody else. Like, I'm very curious how Scott Perry feels about DeMar DeRozan. I'm very curious how Doug Christie feels about DeMar DeRozan, because we look at last year. We look at DeMar in the scope of last year's team going, oh, it didn't work. It clearly didn't work. It clearly didn't work. Okay. Well, nobody wants that same exact team back, right?
Right.
So if Scott Perry's able to make other tweaks that Doug is all in on, maybe that version of the roster fits a little bit better with DeMar DeRozan. But of course, the other part of that, Will, is DeMar's contract and probably his reputation around the league makes him a guy a lot of teams would love to have. The fact that he walked in here 16 years into his career and just continued to score 20-something points per game like it was no big deal. Yeah, like he even averaged career numbers in a variety of different categories. He didn't blow those career numbers out of the water, but it just shows you how steady he continues to be. We know teams like the Clippers, teams like the Lakers. There's probably a lot of teams out there that would love to talk to Sacramento about. I think he's a great fit in Houston, a guy who can go get them a bucket when they desperately need one, a team that gone stale for 4 or 5 minutes at a time, for 10 or 11 possessions at a time. Get a guy who can go get you a basket. I think he'd be a great fit there too.
Yeah, and the reason I think that the Kings have to move him is like Doug wants to be a 3-point shooting team. Like he said it so many times at the end of last season. And there's mathematically no possible way to do that with DeRozan. Like he took more, I think. He did his best to take more threes, but I don't think it's a coincidence that his teams have led the league in mid-range field goals. And like, if you want to lean into Doug Christie as a coach, you have to surround him with players that fit his style and scheme. And just all signs point to DeRozan not fully meshing with that potential system that they're going to employ.
I like DeMar, man. I'm a DeMar DeRozan. I'll be a fan of DeMar DeRozan.
What do you think, like, in a few years looking back? Because, like, 1 year in NBA time is a pretty small amount of time. And having DeRozan just a quick stop in Sacramento, I'm curious to see how that kind of story and history ages as we get further away from it, if he is traded this offseason especially.
Yeah, it probably depends on what happens next. Like, for example, if he goes somewhere and plays another 3 years there and finishes his career there, that Sacramento's probably just kind of glossed over in the story. It's if that. If he goes one place, but if he goes one more place and just plays one more year and then decides he's done, I don't know that Sacramento or whatever this next place are even mentioned in the DeMar DeRozan story. They're both just kind of like, footnotes after he left Chicago. He played really well his entire career. Hall of Fame, probably not a lot of images from his time in either city, though he did have some pretty solid moments with Sacramento, including that, is it Dallas? That game winner versus Dallas. Like he had some moments that I think are pretty memorable. I just don't know that they'll get run in this Hall of Fame video.
Yeah, which is fair. And
it's like, I don't know that Vince Carter got known as a king when he, you know what I mean? Like it's
right.
It's kind of the same thing. I wish I wasn't. I wish it was I wish the circumstances were different, but
Yeah.
You have proposed a number of different trades over the course of the last few weeks over there with your work at SI. What's your favorite?
Oh man.
No, it's not the Bradley Beal one. Thank God.
It's not. That's honestly my least favorite. Like, I don't know. I just put like just now finished publishing another one too. That one, Jesse, I'm interested to hear your thoughts on.
Oh boy.
I was actually wondering, Will.
Yeah.
Wait. Does this involve the Celtics?
It does.
Oh, okay. No, I was thinking of something else.
Oh.
Will was on the Domas for Cat train at one point, but I think he's jumped off.
Wait, is that true?
I was throwing that around the other day, and Will hated it, and then I think he liked it, and then he went back to hating it. I think
I talked myself into it a little, but I'm still on the fence. Like, I don't know. I'd entertain the idea, but if I'm ranking them too, it's probably in my lower tier. The Sabonis for Cat idea, but I don't know.
You're making a face where you're thinking about it.
A little bit.
Yeah, you see?
At the end of the day, he's so talented, and it's hard to say no.
And we talked about it, like, hey, this could actually help the Knicks as well.
Mm-hmm. I think
I hate you for doing this on a Friday. I hate you, like, because now I'm going to be thinking about this.
Content.
I don't need content on a Saturday. I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning thinking about, Karl Anthony Towns. It wouldn't be that bad. And then Sunday, I'm gonna wake up sweating. Jesse, this is a stupid idea. I'm gonna blow the text line up.
Incredible.
Wait till you're all bought in.
You're still all in.
All in on
Cat.
I wouldn't hate him on the Sacramento Kings.
And you are on the fence.
I'm on the fence. I'd be okay with it just because he's super talented. I think him and Levine are easier to build a team around than Levine and Sabonis, because you have two scorers compared to, I think, Sabonis more of a facilitated ancillary scorer. But like, you got offense with the two of them in different ways than with Sabonis and Levine. But again, defensive limitations, it's a lateral move defensively. You're probably losing a little in terms of facilitation. Depends on the point guards. You're losing money because I think Cat's around 56 compared to Sabonis around 43, give or take a few. So you're losing flexibility to bring in other key roles that the Kings need. So it's on the fence, but I'd explore it. It wouldn't excite me as many as other deals.
Which one did you have for Jesse?
I am intrigued about a DeMar DeRozan to the Celtics for Kristaps Porzingis and the 28th pick in this year's draft. What do you think, Jesse? What are the vibes on Porzingis?
Porzingis is gone. Is Porzingis?
Bro, yeah, it's not even Porzingis. I'm worried about the 28th pick.
Porzingis is the DeMar DeRozan of the Boston Celtics, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
I like Drew a little bit more. I don't hate it, actually. I mean, what's the 28th pick going to do in Boston? I would do that deal.
Yeah.
You save money that way. I was done after that year.
My thought process on it is like it would allow you again to be in the mix for, I think, a playoff spot this year. I don't know what's going on with Porzingis and his health, and
well, Soren asked a very fair question: is Porzingis alive?
Right. But he may or may not have the plague, but we don't know. So
like
no.
My only hang up with that deal is I wonder how much DeMar fits the Celtics threes only offense. It's not threes only, of course, but
kind of.
I wonder if he could fit in.
Yeah, right.
But maybe on paper, I like.
I don't know. Maybe don't take 63s a game and allow DeMar to get you 20 from the mid range.
It would diversify their offense, which I think they may need. But I don't know if they want to move away from what they have going. Like, it works. It got them a championship, but it didn't work this year. Obviously, injuries and everything. But it would, I think, allow them to bring in another scorer with Tatum gone. The money-wise, it just makes sense. Like, you don't want a super expensive replacement for Tatum. It seems like he makes a lot of sense there, just like with Miami, as an idea and a concept. But fit and play style, I don't know. That's for the Celtics to decide.
All right, Will. Great stuff as always, man. We're going to keep monitoring what you're doing over at SI. And if we miss anything, we know TC will call and recite it to us as an idea.
Can I say real quick what my favorite one was?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's DeRozan to the Heat for Jaime Jaquez Jr. and Terry Rozier.
Okay.
Because you get young wing in Jaquez and a point guard that you can start or bring off the bench in Rozier. And the contracts, the way they line up, I think Rozier's a free agent, so you can either flip him in the season if you want, or have the expiring. But it's a move that brings in multiple positions of need. You send out DeRozan, and you still have flexibility with Monk, Carter, others that you can do follow-up moves with. So I think that's my favorite one that I've looked at so far.
I remember reading that one. I like that one too. I'm curious what Miami's approach is this offseason. Like there's, Kevin Durant is out there. Giannis Antetokounmpo is allegedly out there, and allegedly Giannis likes something about, the Heat, though it doesn't really fit with some of the other stuff that was written. Exactly where they're trying to go will certainly, there's also rumors about Pat Riley. So,
Right.
Where they go, that'll be a fascinating watch. We know that they were interested in DeMar a year ago, just as the Clippers were. So DeMar's going to have his suitors. One of these trades might actually hit, but yeah, DeMar's going to have his suitors out there in the league. Great stuff, Will. We appreciate you, my friend. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Eamon.